Hello and welcome to the channel where we make software simple to understand, and I share lessons from around 10 years of doing software projects for corporate and government clients. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how optimizing just 4 metrics can make your software team into a superstar team that has incredible levels of productivity. These 4 metrics were pioneered by the authors of this book that's on the screen now, and they've done 4 years of research and gone through 23,000 survey responses to come to these conclusions. And I'll summarize their findings using an example. If you were to go to a hotel, and at the end of the hotel you were to review that stay, your review would consist of thinking about many different metrics for that hotel. And so you'll be thinking about things like the lobby, how clean it was, the friendliness of the staff, your check-in process, the cleanliness of your room, the breakfast. There's many different metrics that will contribute to that review. But what if I could just measure one metric and that single metric can tell me about many other metrics? So for example, if I just asked you at the end of your stay, how was your sleep at the hotel? And you told me it was great and it was amazing, 10 out of 10, that probably means that your bed sheets were clean and comfortable, that the mattress was very comfortable to sleep on, that the noise levels were acceptable, so the soundproofing within the room was excellent, that the room was clean so you could relax, that the breakfast that morning was excellent because you didn't end up with any stomach problems later that night. A single metric, how well you slept at the hotel, can tell us about a whole other bunch of metrics. And so the same thing applies to software teams. We don't need to come up with a list of 30 different KPIs that we want to meet for this team. The authors of this book have concluded that you just need to look at 4 things to predict the productivity and effectiveness of a software team. Number 1 is deployment frequency, which is how often do you release code to production. And so ideally you want to be releasing multiple times per week. Secondly is lead time for those deployments. And so how long does it take for me to get code from a developer's laptop onto a production server? And ideally you want that to be as small as possible, ideally less than an hour. The third metric is the change failure rate, which is what percentage of those deployments fail, and ideally you want that to be as close to 0 as possible, hopefully less than 5%. And finally, the fourth metric is what is the mean time to restore, i.e. if there is a failed deployment, how long does it take for us to roll back to a previous state? And ideally you want this to be minutes. You don't want it to be longer than an hour, otherwise you end up with a lot of downtime. And if your software is generating revenue, then you're going to end up with a lot of lost revenue for your organization. And so when I think about these 4 metrics, I think back to the many government and corporate clients that I've done work with, and every client who had optimized those 4 metrics, I can tell you 20 other good things about those teams. And the clients who hadn't optimized those 4 metrics, I can tell you 20 bad things about those teams. And so to speed up your software developers, to make them effective, to make them efficient, optimize those 4 metrics and watch your organization completely transform.